So recently, a couple months ago, I decided to tell myself that I should stop taking caffeine. Because before, I was heavily addicted to caffeine. I was drinking coffees every day, taking caffeine pills every day, one or the other, whatever I had at the moment, and I just kept taking it. And next you know, I was very dependent on caffeine, and when there were days when I didn't have caffeine, I just felt like, oh, I'm so tired. And you're just like, I need caffeine, I need caffeine, I'm gonna get a headache, or I'm gonna feel very fatigued all the time. And for that, I just want to tell you what it's like to be out of caffeine for 3 months, or my journey for how I've been away from caffeine for 3 months. So without further ado, let's go on to the first week of when I actually start transitioning out of caffeine. So first week, I was still very dependent on caffeine, and the thing is, I couldn't just stop. For me, I had to lower my caffeine intake for the day, so I had a cup of coffee all the time. Usually it would be like black coffee and a little bit of sugar, and after that I was good. And then later on I was like, okay, I can't drink any coffee anymore, and I was like, okay, how about black tea? So on the third day on the first week when I made the proposal to stop taking caffeine, that didn't happen. I still drank coffee for that day also. I was like, I'm so tired, I need it. But the thing is, I was like, okay, I need to kind of push myself and kind of like push it to black tea. So what I did after that was, week 2, I actually only told myself, okay, Jonathan, black tea only, black tea. And the thing is, when I drink black tea, I didn't have a big of a caffeine crash from coffee. Instead, I felt a lot better slightly, but I still had like a very small crash, but it wasn't as heavy as the coffee crash. And another thing that I noticed was that my anxiety was a lot lower than the coffee. And for me, I have an anxious mind. I actually, think about all these different scenarios in my head. I'm just like, oh, what's this person thinking of me right now? I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen right here? Oh, what's gonna come at home? What problem's gonna be thrown at me? And I was like, oh my god, this is such a bad thing to have. So for coffee, I always had a lot of anxious thoughts, and I had like a very anxious mind, and I had a lot of anxiety, and it was just really bad. So what I had to do was, go to black tea. And black tea, I still had a little bit of anxiety, but it wasn't as high as before. So from there, I was like, okay, what's after black tea to kind of lower my consumption of caffeine? And the next thing was green tea. So what I did after that was transition from green tea. I went from black tea to a green tea. It was like jasmine green tea. And from there, it was just very light. I was like, okay, this is like a small little energy boost. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling good right now, feeling good. And then after that, there was like a little dip of a caffeine crash, but it wasn't as bad as like black tea or especially coffee. I was like, holy cow. Okay, and I felt a lot better actually. I didn't have like anxious thoughts running through my head. I actually got a little bit better sleep because I only drank my teas or coffee back then. Only in the mornings, just for like if I want to go to the gym, or in the afternoon if I just needed something to kind of get me out of that little after lunchtime. And after that, I was like, okay, week 4, Jonathan, you have to quit, and you have to like not touch any caffeine. So what I did after that was I didn't take any caffeine, and in the beginning, after green tea, it was a little bit hard. I felt a little bit groggy. I was like, oh, I'm so tired right now. Oh, what am I gonna do? And the thing is, what I did was I just looked up online. I was like, oh, you need to properly hydrate yourself. Maybe that's why you're tired and fatigued. And I just kept drinking a lot of water, and I was like, oh, I feel a lot better. Because before then, I wasn't drinking as much water when I was drinking with coffee, black tea, or green tea. But after staying away from that, on my 4th week on my journey of limiting myself from caffeine or limiting caffeine in my life, I found out that drinking a lot of water was a lot better. And next I had a whole bunch of energy. So it's just like, woo, let's go. And I'm just like pumped up all the time. I get better sleep. I don't have any anxious thoughts. The only time I get anxious thoughts is maybe there's like a big problem smacked at me right there. So, but that's usually it. I don't have like the big anxious thoughts that I usually have when I was really dependent on caffeine. And I actually have more energy now. I'm actually, go to the gym without caffeine. I actually, go through the day without taking any caffeine supplements or any caffeinated drinks. And after that, I'm just like, yes, finally. And actually there are times, you know, if I have, you know, lack of sleep and I'm just, oh, caffeine sounds so good right now. But the thing is, for me, I did different tricks. I actually hydrate myself also, and I actually did like take very small naps, like 5 to 10 minute naps. And those little naps actually during the work time, when I take it to my breaks, make like a huge difference. So yeah, that's what my journey is with staying away from, or limiting myself from caffeine for that long. So if you actually enjoyed this video on, you know, my story on caffeine, like this video, subscribe, and if you have any other questions or what other stories you want to hear about, leave it in the comment box below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.